our syllabus. You can click it and it'll download it as a document file. This little bit right here, this little bit right here will actually load it into the web page for you. So I'm going to full screen this, and you'll see your syllabus there. There is no paper syllabus, and there will be no paper this semester. There's no book, there's no papers that you are handing to me. Everything is going to be done electronically. So, this is Film and Culture. It meets here, Fridays from 11:30 to 3:10 in HTC 241. As a side note, we will probably go the entire time most class periods. Friday classes only meet for 14 weeks, so we're short a week. And I'm not going to make you come for the final, so don't worry about that. I'm Alex Langshall. To get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Skype. There's my username right there. I'm here before or after class. I'm usually here 15 to 30 minutes before class. I usually hang out about as long after class. My email preferred is this one, alangshall@comcast.net. If you email me on my page, it just forwards to that, so I get a hold of it. This phone number is a Google phone number. So what happens is you call it, and it will ask you for your name. Just tell it your name, that you're one of my students, and it will give me that, and it protects me from telemarketers calling me my phone. Some things about this course. So this is what the college wants you to know about the course. This course fulfills the fine arts and diversity requirements for general education. Congratulations, you get 2 for 1. 2 for cool. Catalog says that this course is intended to raise diversity awareness through aesthetic, critical, and interdisciplinary examination of our American cultural identity through film. Presents film as an art form and industry, and ultimately a system of cultural representation and communication. So to break down the educational jargon speak, we're going to talk about diverse populations that make up the United States, particularly American cultural identity. That's the thing that we're focusing on. So foreign films we will not be watching in this class. We're focused on American cultural identity. We're going to look at film as an art form. So like in the RSA video, we're trying to throw things at you and get you to open up and engage with art. We present it as an industry, so we're always cognizant of the fact that film is a multi-million-dollar industry that affects us in a financial way as well. And ultimately a system of cultural representation and communication. It's how we see ourselves, and it's how we communicate certain ideas to ourselves. So the things you should be able to do. You'll be able to critically examine history, contributions, and challenges confronting diverse groups in our multicultural society of the United States. And you do that by viewing film. So we're going to watch certain films which represent certain populations within the United States and view them critically. And then you'll demonstrate your understanding of how American film and filmmaking influence our cultural identity and how that identity influences the filmmaking industry. I'll talk a lot about the circle, where you have film and you have culture. Film influences culture. People believe that they are vampires because they watch Twilight. Culture influences film. We see representations of what happens to us as a society in the films we watch. Good so far? Okay. Big stop sign, important bit. We need to be absolutely clear about this. Okay? Some films we will view may be considered controversial and will carry an R rating. These films have been selected for their artistic and historical merit. Though I do understand and respect individuals who choose not to do certain materials, there will be no accommodation made for content. I'm not picking films capriciously. I'm not going and saying, gee, I'm going to pick this film because it will really shock and scare my students. That's not my intention. However, most of the films that we watch carry an R rating. In America, that we're going to watch today, carries an R rating. There's nudity, there's sexuality. I believe there's a little bit of violence. It's not done capriciously. And the majority of films that address the topics that we want to talk about in this college level course carry this rating. So be aware of that. If it's a problem in front of you, come talk to me. Okay? So, things that we're going to do. So, the design of this course is basically, I don't want to stand up here and talk, and I don't want you to sit there and listen. I want you to talk to each other. I want you to watch the films that we watch in class and have a discussion and generate knowledge from each other, from readings, from other stuff. I do not believe that my individual knowledge of film and my experience with film is greater than your collective knowledge. How many of you have seen a film? Raise your hand. One film, at least.
Any film?
Any film. A film. Great. Okay, so you are all film viewers. You all know something about film. You all have experience with this medium. So you should be able to talk together about what that knowledge is and how it relates to what we see. So our classes will consist of picking films, watching films, some small group and large group discussion, maintenance and assignments on the wiki, which I'll explain in a minute, making decisions about where we're going to go, so you will have say in what subjects we're going to actually be discussing, viewing in class, and being prepared for online discussion. This kind of learning requires participation, preparation, and attendance. I provide a framework for you to learn in, and then you fill that in, and then I also provide the criteria for how you meet the objectives of the course. That's called the grading, right? Unfortunately, we still exist in the system where I have to mark things and grade them. Now, there is no textbook. Hopefully you kept the money you would have spent for your textbook. Throughout the semester, we're going to go and see 3 first-run films in an actual movie theater. We're going to get up, we're going to go most likely to the Carmike on Redwood and 90th, and we're going to see 3 first-run films. And we'll pick movies that have cultural significance, and we'll analyze them just the way that we analyze the other films that are shown in class. That way you're getting stuff that's out there and current and relevant. Sound good? All right. Here are the important parts about grading and assignments. First off is the wiki project. Anyone know what a wiki is? Or used one in class before? Yeah.
So collaboration of information that can be freely edited by anybody that goes to the site?
That's a fantastic definition. It's a collaboration, so you will all collaborate to generate this content, and it's freely editable by anybody that has access to it. So, there's going to be 2 major projects. One is a group project, one is an individual project. In small groups, you will investigate a particular cultural subgroup of America. So you will talk about the African American experience, the Asian American experience, Latino experience, GLBT experience, feminist experience, veterans experience, deaf experience, disabled experience. The list goes on and on and on. Your group will pick one topic, and you will investigate how that subgroup is represented in film. How do we see that group in America through the films that we watch? The individual project, so this will end it by midterm. We'll do the group projects and be done with them by midterm. The second project will be an individual project that investigates the work of a specific director. So you'll pick a director, an American director, and you'll investigate their work and then create a page about that.
So are these both done just on the wiki, or are they presented?
They're both done on the wiki. We may have presentations depending on how you feel about that. If my hope is that we generate a body of knowledge that we can refer to and use in class and talk about these things with. If that doesn't happen, then perhaps we will shift to, okay, you need to come up and show us what we do this and this. It really depends on how, this entire class is kind of built that way, that it all depends on how are we going to, how do we get there from where we're at. There isn't a prescribed way that this course is going to go. I know it's a little bit scary, but it's good. So for your grade, 40% of your grade comes from the wiki. 10% will come from weekly maintenance tasks. So I will go through the wiki and you will have something that you need to do every week, starting next week. We're not going to work on the wiki this week. I want enrollment to kind of settle. I want to make sure that this is the group of people that we're going to be working with, and then we'll get off and running next week. So then we can pick groups, we can pick subjects, we'll have an idea of what it is that you want to discuss and talk about, and we can build that together. So 10%, I'll give you weekly tasks to do on the wiki. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because for a large project, particularly later on in your college careers, when you're juniors, seniors, graduate students, this is not the kind of thing you want to be doing 30 minutes before class when it's due. This is the kind of thing that you want to constantly be working on, upgrading, getting better at. Just like when you're writing a 30-page paper, you don't want to be doing it the night before. So this is also designed to get you in good habits, to get you working on a large project in pieces to get it done, and not rushing to complete it at the very end. And then at midterm, what will happen is I'll freeze the wiki, and I'll give you a grade and an assessment. And you have two choices. You can take the grade I give you, or you can go through the suggestions that I've listed, implement them, and I'll raise your grade. So you will get to know what it is. Today you get a C, and I'll give you all the information about how to bring that up to an A. Here are the things you need to do. Sound good? And then the individual project will work the same way. We'll do weekly maintenance tasks every week, and then your final grade on that will be 10% of your final grade. And we will develop the rubrics. So we will decide as a group what's important about this project that we want graded. I will have some say in that because I want there to be good formatting, grammar, and I need you to cite things properly. But you will have say in determining what things about this project are important to be graded and what constitutes that grade. Sound good? Okay. Now, I teach one other course. I teach Intro to Film at Redwood on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're doing nearly an identical project, but their content is film aesthetics. We're talking about how a film is built. And sometimes it would be nice to know some of the things that they're talking about in our course. And I've played with Canvas, and I think I can get this to work. I can cross-link our wikis so that we can see the work that they're doing, and they can see the work that we're doing. So when we have a question about, okay, how do you do film lighting, or how do you do editing? That's not necessarily a topic that we talk about in this course, but we can go over to the Intro to Film wiki and see, okay, here's what they've had to say about lighting and editing. Just like in Intro to Film, I won't necessarily be talking about, say, women directors in film, but if there's a group in this class that chooses that as a subject, they'll be able to come over to our wiki and research that. So it's cross-linked in together. I will not accept late work on the wiki, simply because there isn't a reason for there to be late work. If we're constantly working on it week after week after week, and I'm giving you status updates and feedback, and you're having the opportunity to change things, there isn't a reason for us to have late work. Yes?
Are there any tests that you
No. No tests, no quizzes. Okay. The other big chunk of your grade, 40%, is weekly online discussion. So in Canvas right now, there are 2 weekly discussion posts set up. One is set up for you to talk about you, why you're here in the class. The other one is set up to talk about the movie. There are readings about the movie, and then some discussion questions to talk about. It also gets you an opportunity, because this is only 14 weeks, you get an extra discussion question this week to kind of make it balance out to 15 weeks. We will discuss course topics every week online. We will post the discussion question topic by class time on Friday. By the end of class on Friday, there will be something up on Canvas for you to talk about and discuss. You have until Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday, to respond to that topic. So you log into Canvas, you click, it'll tell you have these things to be done, you click on the thing, you type it in, it automatically does it.
So is there going to be one today?
It's up right now.
Where is it?
It's under discussions. By the next class period, by Friday, you need to respond to somebody else's post. So this is designed for you to get in the habit of actually having a discussion about the things that you're saying or the things that you're seeing in the films, rather than just saying, this is my idea. It's designed to get you collaborating and talking about the ideas that you're coming up with. Cool. I grade the posts credit, no credit, and I give you a little bit of responsibility in that because I expect you to have writing and communication styles typical of college students. So that course sucked. Or I'm sorry, that film sucked, period. Is not going to get credit. That film sucked because the cinematography was lousy and didn't have anything to do with the Asian American experience, and like give me something about why you're saying what you're saying. Post coherent grammatically correct and thoughtful contributions. If you're offensive, vulgar, or rude, bad things happen. Don't go there. And then at the end of the course, there will be a 3 to 5 page reflective essay. So you're going to talk about what your experience going through this class was, and that goes into your e-portfolio. One of my students in my other class says he hates the e-portfolio with the fury of 1,000 suns. So do I. If you turn your essay in one class period early, it gets a 10% bonus right off the top. Turning it on time, it's on time. 10% late. If it's one class period late and 2 class periods late, it'll be 20% off. Participation. So in-class participation is vital. I usually use a deductive method, so if you are disruptive, if you make it so that other people can't learn, this is what I hold to be able to use the stick rather than the carrot, right, to take things away. There's a pretty general grading scale. You need to attend in order not to be administratively withdrawn, so congratulations, welcome to the first class period. I'm not going to take attendance. You're adults. I don't think I need to sit here with a checklist and monitor whether or not you come to class. However, know a couple things. Class starts on time. 11:30 a.m. we start. We may take a while to get started, and I may buffer that first 5-10 minutes so that if you're coming in a little bit late, it doesn't matter as much, but we get started at 11:30. And for most of the time, we may leave a little early sometimes, but expect to be here until 3:10. And consider that in a collective environment, your classmates are relying on you. If you're working on group projects, if you're discussing films, if you're talking to each other about stuff, you got to be here to do that. Your participation grade, if you're constantly tired, you're constantly absent, I will come and talk to you and say, hey, if we don't figure out a way to fix this, then I'm going to start docking your participation grade. And in all cases, just like anything else that comes up, talk to me about what happens before it happens, to the best of your ability. I understand that things come up. I have a 3 soon-to-be 4-year-old daughter. Things come up for me. Hopefully not this semester. But I totally get that life throws things at you and stuff happens. Things that happen in class that I want you to, what my expectations for behavior are. This class is designed around in-class discussion and debate, and it's also designed to be controversial. I'm going to push at your comfort levels a little bit. That's part of that diversity tag that's attached to the course. I expect you to behave appropriately as adults in a class that's environment that's designed for learning. So that means a couple things. One, use your electronic devices responsibly. That doesn't mean turn off your cell phone, put it away, never use it, shut your laptops. That doesn't mean that. But it means that I expect you to use cell phones, internet use for class purposes, right? Be responsible with your technology. If that becomes a problem, I can reduce your participation credit or toss you out. You're expected to discuss ideas and not people. So Fred is a jerk. It's not acceptable. Fred said that black people should live in the South. I disagree with that because blah. Right? You're discussing the idea that Fred has brought up, not Fred himself. If you have comments that are defamatory, discriminatory, or just plain rude, they'll just not be tolerated. As a communal activity, I encourage typical film watching behavior. Part of the idea of this class is that our cultural experience as film watchers is important. You go to a movie theater with your friends, right? You pay your, what is it now, $9, $8 to get your ticket. You pay $17 for your soda and your popcorn. And you go and sit in this darkened room with complete strangers. And with these complete strangers, you share a cultural experience with them. You laugh, you cry, you throw popcorn at the screen together, right? That's part of the cultural experience of being an American. So I encourage those activities. However, so I'm going to allow food and drink. It's never been a problem in the past. I will say, however, that if you have food or drink that is irritating, if you do behaviors that are irritating, like you bring fish, or something that's particularly loud, like I can't come up with a good
Bag of
example.
sun chips.
Yeah, no. But if you crunch them really loudly, I reserve the right to ask you to stop, modify your behavior, fumigate the room, whatever becomes necessary, right? If you abuse that privilege, then it becomes lost. And golden rule applies. Please treat each other respectfully. Treat each other the way that you would like to be treated, and this class is a positive experience, right? Okay. Cheating and plagiarism, don't cheat, don't plagiarize. There's no reason to do it. One of the difficulties in a group activity like what we're doing is that you're going to need to be very careful about citing all of your sources. We're going to use MLA format for citation, and that means that any idea that you use that's not your own, you need to be giving credit for. There's two reasons for this. One is the one that you're pretty much all aware of. The one is one that you may not be thinking about. The first one is it's not your idea. You need to give credit to whoever's idea this thing is, right? The other one is if you want more information about a subject, one of the best things to do is to go to the bottom, find their citations, and then go look at the things they were looking at. So you're providing breadcrumbs for people who come on and go, hey, I want to know more about this thing. Where can I do that? This is what you looked at. Great, I'll go look at that. So anything more than 3 words from a source that you directly copy, you need to stick quotation marks on. It's not your words, somebody else's words. Give them credit for it. And we'll give you lots of guidance about that. If you plagiarize or cheat, you fail. Pretty straightforward. And you should have no reason for doing those things. It's also pretty difficult. The general education, here's all the stuff the college makes me say. General education requirement. This class fulfills general education requirements. Next. I know, that's basically what they're saying. You're going to get lots of important things from this class. Blah. This one's a bit important, the DRC disclosure. If you have a legitimate disability that requires some sort of accommodation, you need to take care of that through the DRC. I can't modify course content or change assignments without authorization from them. It's, it protects you and it protects me. If I change stuff without information from them, I open myself up to lawsuit, basically. E-portfolio. Again, Fury of 1,000 Suns. You need to have one. Stick your final essay in there. The final essay is designed to be inherently reflective, so it's a reflective piece of writing that meshes with the ideas in the e-portfolio. So just throw it on there. It does its work. And if I need to change the syllabus, I have the right to do that. I doubt that I will need to change the syllabus, but it's something that might come up. Are there any questions? Go ahead and hit